Welcome to the Dialed In Podcast. I'm your host, the official CIG. Today is our official first podcast. We're just going to talk about a handful of things. It's going to be a really quick episode. Just going to talk about the motivation behind the podcast, why I wanted to start it, a little bit about myself, and kind of what the future holds for Dialed In, the plans I have, and what I'd like to proceed in the future. All right, so the first thing I want to kind of talk about is the motivation behind Dialed In. I've been wanting to make a podcast for a really long time. I've listened to hundreds and hundreds of hours of podcasts. And, they've helped me a lot mentally, especially physically. I listen to a lot of things on how to start your morning, how to build your energy, um, different things about the world, society. I kind of dive into a loophole of a bunch of things, and I thought this podcast would be a great idea to recognize those things, bring insight on the things that changed my life, helped me, kind of share it with you guys. Um, Another main reason I really want to start this podcast, kind of to start a community. There's been a lot of separation in this world between race, cultures. Everybody has to be their own person now, and nobody can come together. And that's what this podcast is for. This is meant to be a community. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter where you're from. You can come and tune in. You can ask questions. You can take the advice I give or advice that I try to give, and you can use it to your knowledge and try to better yourself in any way possible. One last motivation I have for really dialed in is, just the world itself. The world where we are is a very tough place. It's not easy. I've been through a handful of things. I was kicked out on my 19th birthday. I have struggled a lot. Um, so I understand certain aspects and certain things where people come from. I understand what it's like to be downgraded and be told that you're not worth anything. I've understand, what it's like to be on medication I currently am on now. So I have insight and I have certain things I went through that other people have went through. And I feel like if I just talk about it, if I just kind of not compare, but almost have my situation so similar to yours that you can feel, we're almost the same. We're not alone. We aren't any different. We're both made from flesh and bone. We both bleed. We both breathe the same. Nothing really is different between us. It's just our mental state, our mental and our brains are what make us think we are all so different. And that's really not. It's really not how it should be because we're not different at all. Now, saying that, I just want to talk about kind of what the future holds for Dowden. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of interviews coming up, a lot of people from my hometown, a lot of people from Maryland. I also have some verified people on Instagram, some rappers that would like to come on and have their own podcast. I think that'd be really awesome. Kind of get into their heads a little bit, see what their motivation was, what they started, how they started it, their marketing, kind of give people insight because that way future people, future generations, or future artists can listen to these podcasts and hopefully get a little extra push or an extra foot in the door to help them go about and do their dreams. I will say, being a community is kind of my biggest thing. I've always kind of been alone in my life, and being in a community with my friends where we kind of made our own community. That was everything. I still look at it as my family. Having a group of people or even one individual that you can just talk to about anything is really all you need. That one individual. I've been in places where I've had 20 friends and I've had three friends where I've moved. And I've be honest with you, that three friends were probably better because they weren't fake. They weren't going to turn their back on me. And when I asked for help or I really needed something, those three friends stepped up versus maybe five out of that 20. And those five aren't around today. So leaving that, kind of just watch your surroundings, watch where you are, watch the people you're around. It's not hard to tell you that I care about you and that we're going to be successful. And then when I see one little bit of something, one little jump that I can just take from you, I'll do it. A lot of people are like that, and I'm here to shine light on those people and shit on them. We're here to shit on them because That's not how a human should be. That's not how a person should live. And if you're like that, shame on you. But with that all being said, I am going to leave you guys with a quote today. Let me turn my notes real quick. This quote is by 365 Mentality. Um, you can follow them on Instagram. You know, I follow them a lot. They have a lot of really good quotes, a lot of motivation. You know, they post them daily, and they have a lot of just really, really good things to say. And I think it's a really awesome page. Today's quote is: "Discipline leads to habits, while habits lead to consistency, and consistency leads to growth." So if you have a discipline, you discipline yourself enough to wake up, go to the gym, tell yourself every morning you're going to be successful or you're going to have a good day. It will start to be a habit. It will start to be consistent. It will start to carry on. You will start waking up every day like that without even having to remind yourself. But also remember that discipline and habits can be used for the negative. If you wake up and you are like, all right, bet I don't want to go to work, fuck a 9 to 5. Let's go pick up that ounce. Let's just go sell. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. That's gonna continue to lead to consistency and to a habit, and that habit won't get you anywhere but negative growth. You will grow, and you will be a better seller. You will be a better dealer. You will be better with insights, but it won't take you anywhere positive. So if you change that and you start to become positive and you start using your ways and start using gifts that our higher maker gave you, you will start seeing positive growth. And I advocate that for everybody. I understand there are roads that we have to take at a certain time, but those roads aren't meant to last forever. In saying that, I will leave you guys today. I do appreciate everybody who tuned in. This is our very first podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I am your host, the official CRG, and you guys are listening to the Dialed In Podcast.